Hi everyone. So welcome to the day 10 of SQL fundamentals. So today we are going to talk about variables, conditional statements and loop. So before we dive into the practical, so what is variable? So we were talking about like join, union or were conditions group by. All we were talking about getting data from a single table or multiple table as a single result. So we have never used a scenarios like you wanted to carry some value, some output value from one query to another, because all our queries were inline or single line statements, right? So the variable plays a role when you wanted to hold a result for a temporary purpose. Like you have like 2 3 queries and you wanted to carry a value from one place to another. And a conditional statement will help you to execute particular conditions based on some scenarios in your data. And loops will help you to like iterate the same query multiple times, right? So we'll go to the practical examples, and I'll try to keep this video short so that like I have already prepared some of the query, so we don't waste the time by writing the queries again and again. So first one is variable. As I said, like variables are hold values temporarily in the query session. So this is how you declare a variable. So you don't need this. So this first you use declare statement and you mention the variable name. Variable names are always going to be starting with at the rate, and if there are two at the rate, like these, they are representing as like system variables. So id, so I named it, so at the rate id, and we'll write as and int. So this line states that in your this query session, this query window have a variable declared named as id, and the data type is defined as int. So if you wanted to um, set a default value, right, you can set that as 10, just like that, right? Or in case you don't want to yeah, I think I have the examples below. So next one, I have created another variable called name, and I have set varchar. So all the data type we have learned earlier, right, you can use that here. So always unlike other Python or anything, here you have to define a data type for all the variables which is being declared, and you have to declare it. You cannot use without declaration or anything. Okay, so here also like I set a default value just for temporary purpose. So this is the set operation which help you to assign a value. Okay, so I have set it as 10. So print is a statement. I'll tell you how the values are changing. Print is a statement where you can print a value. Select is also a statement where you can select and display the value. So if you wanted to take a result out of the query, like from a like a stored procedure and all, which we will be learning later, we will use select. But if you just wanted to display and see like what is going on, and if you wanted just to see the result, right, we use print. So I'll run this query. Yeah, so you have declared two variable id name. So this the other 20, this is the print 20, it's in the message box, and result is a select. So what I would do, I will select this value before the set statement and after the set, and the scope is like in the execution. Okay, so now if you just try to execute this query again, right, so it will say like must declare, right, must declare the scalar variable at the rate id. So you have to, so while execution while executing only, the variables are being declared, utilized, and that will be like deallocated by that execution is completed. So you'll not be able to explicitly take variable after the query execution. Okay, so now let us run this query. We'll get two result, 10 and 20. So 10 is the first one where like you initialized it as 10, then you change it as 20. So this is how variables are working. Now let me show you some examples where variables can be used. Now I have a select query. So I think you are all familiar with tables. Variables is something new, but I wanted to get name of an employees based on the employee ID. Okay, now I'm getting the first employee ID 1, then I need to run employee ID 2. Okay, you have prepared a query, but you need to keep changing your query, right? Instead of that, all you can do, I have this ID, I'll paste this ID here, and I'll get rid of all this code, not to make it complicated. So I will say, okay, ID is 1, right? Let us see what happens. So you get your result. Now you don't need to change the query, you can keep changing this value. ID is 2. Yeah. So this initialization is not mandatory, okay, just not to the confusion. So this is ID is 2, right? Now like you can use this in the query, so that like you would be able to keep passing the parameters based on, like you can set, right? If you have multiple parameters or whatever, you can keep adding that and set it. Now let us see how we would use a variable inside the like how we will retrieve a value from select. Now id has an input and it was retrieving. Right now my requirement is like I am passing an id and I wanted to get the name in a variable. Maybe I might be using this name to pass it to somewhere, or like I might be using this name to like pass into another table to identify address or something, right? So all you have to do is like this. So you will give the name here, and I will do the select. Okay, so with the id 2. Now what is happening here, when you are assigning a value using select, this will not return anything. Okay, so I'll run until here so that you will understand what is happening. So command is executed successfully, because here you are assigning a value, you are not selecting. When if you are selecting, you will not have any assignment operation. Okay, so you are selecting a value. So now I'm selecting. So if you changing this to 3, right, you will get the third person name in the name variable. So you can use this name like any other purpose, or you can use this name in another query, right? You think about any scenario, you pass a name, you get an employee id, you pass that employee id into a different table and get the transaction information, things like that, right? Either in some cases, yes, you might be able to write a single query and get the result, but there are scenarios when you write multiple lines of code and multiple tables are being referred in a query. You may have to get some values from one place to another. So this variables would help you to carry the values from one result to another. So we have only talked about this scalar valued or single this integer var but we also have table valued, where which help you to even hold the entire table result into a table. And we have term table, table variable, all these things which we will like which is defined based on the scope, that we will have a separate session. But just as a summary, understood that variable is something which help you to temporarily store the data while the query is being executed, and you can use that to carry the data temporarily while executing the code. Okay, so now we'll move on to the conditional statements. The conditional statements. So we are going to talk about 3 conditional statement: case, IIF, if. So case and IIF are inlined or being used inside select, and if will be used for multi-line statements. So this is case. As I said, like I have all the query prepared already, so that we can save time. I will be able to wrap up the video maybe within 20 minutes. So this is my case statement. I'll just run this case statement first and show you the result. I have a new column added. I haven't named the column, that's why it's coming as no column name. I can alias it a name case land, just just for ease of understanding. Case land. So what these case statements are, right? Like you wanted to apply a logic or apply a condition inside your select query and get a result. Suppose you wanted to see, like you have a department ID as 5, but maybe masking the data or manipulating the data, you wanted to show it as 0. So that is what I have used this case learn. So I have printed both the column department ID and case learn column. So the masked department column. So wherever 5 is coming, it is going to be 0, right? So that is how the case works. So you can do this for anything. I just took an easiest example with the data we have. So you can even mask the data, or you can add multiple conditions which I will be showing below. So this is the simplest case statement, so that like you can apply the conditions in a query and you can generate the result. Okay, and not just in select. Okay, so you can also write case condition in where case department ID into 5. So what happens here? This is going to return only that department ID is equal to 5. It could have been a straight simple query, but what we did here is like we applied a case condition and we are checking if it is equal to 0, right? We are not checking it's equal to 5. So I took this example just to show you that you can apply this case condition in where condition, group by, order by, everywhere. But understand that case is being used when you wanted to when you wanted to apply a condition inside your query in a select queries, right? And this is the same case statement, but you are having the multi-line statement because you just don't wanted to do this for like department ID 1. Maybe you wanted to mask department ID 19, department ID 10, right? So here you can use case when statement multiple times. You can see 519, all these things are being masked or being shown as 0. You can also show it as null. Okay, that's totally straightforward. So here I have given the column name only 1, and when then condition are being repeated. So when department ID, when 5, then 0, when 19, then 0, department ID, when 10, 0, else department ID, right? So this is one way of like writing nested case conditions. And we also have multiple line. You don't need to really mention the column in the case when. You can mention the column after that, and here you can write multiple conditions, or you can directly write department ID is equal to 5 and joining date is not null or null. Yeah, so here I wanted to highlight one more thing. All the values we use equal to, not equal to conditions, but when it comes to null, right, you have to use when you are trying to compare a value, if you are checking like if the value is null or not null, you need to use is null or is not null condition, because null is never ever considered as a value. That means null is a hypothetical value that says that it can be the value which you are comparing, it may or may not be, right? Null can be 10, null cannot be 10, right? This is like that. It is not blank. So null is a value. So whenever you have a scenario where you wanted to filter a data with null, make sure that you are using is null condition. Like I will write like is null. Okay. So inside when, before then, you can write how many ever conditions you want, and or everything what we were learning in where condition previously, right? The operators and all these things you can apply and do the conditions. Note one point, Case condition never filter the data. Case condition applies on the result and give you the then and like then will have positive result, else will have negative result, like if condition. Yeah. So next is IIF. IIF is the same like case condition, but more a like summarized manner. Like you have a condition, like there are three parameters. One is the conditional statement. Second one is like positive, the true result and false result. Suppose if this condition is true, you are going to get 0. If the condition is false, you are going to get this. Right? So that is how IIF is working. Yeah, this will get the same result. I'll be sharing all this code with you so you can explore and keep writing the code. So now coming to the if condition, right? So if conditions are unlike when we talked about case or IIF, we were talking about the queries being written inside the select or inline queries, right? So if conditions are used when you have a flow of the code, like you have a multi-line of code, right? Then you wanted to execute a set of code based on pre-existing conditions. So you remember our ID column, right? So I'm going to declare that once again here. Yeah, so what I have done in the if condition, I just, what went wrong? Any guess? Yes, you may have guessed it. No. No. So we have declare, okay, my bad. So declare was wrong. So we are declaring id as int, and so you might be thinking, okay, this is already declared on the top, but what I am going to do, I am only going to run this piece of query. So just wanted to make sure that you are not like, since I am not selecting that piece of code, I'll not be able to use that variable here. Clear? So I set id as int, and I am trying to select, like I'll be like selecting a word like if. So if I run this code, it does not return anything because my id is not 1, right? So I'll just change the value id as 1. I'm only running the first few lines of statement, okay? So it will run if. So that means this condition is correct, right? This condition returned true because id equal to 1. So it started a retrieve, like it went into the loop, like it come here, check is id is equal to 1. Yes. Then go into the begin, whatever you want it to do, you can, it's not selective, select success. You can write how many of a line of code between the begin and end this is going to work. Okay, so based on like if you have a condition where you wanted to insert a data into a table when only if the value is like this, and you don't want to, like you wanted to delete some records if the value is like this, right? You can get this input value, check the condition if it is working, and it is not like this, you can do access conditions or anything. You can write select statement instead of here, right? So that like if condition will allow you to execute a set of code based on when your condition become true. So what happens if your condition is not true, right? So you need to let the system know, okay, if the condition is not true, you can use else condition, right? So you can use else. And if you have another condition, you wanted to check, okay, if the condition is not true, from here I'm going to run here. So I can let the second condition running, right? So what if my second condition is also true? I can have my third condition running. How many ever loop I want, I can create. So here I had three conditions. One is like id equal to 1, second one is id equal to 5, third one is like none of them is correct, I want this to be running, right? So here my second condition was true, so other to the first and third didn't execute. You can see only the else if was executed, that is this one. And if I give this as 0, this is going to return. Okay, yes, yeah. Now you have seen the error, right? Because I did not select the declare and it was throwing error wherever I have used this at the rate id. Must declare the scalar variable at the rate id. So this actually represent that you have to have this variable declared. So read that error and keep this error in your mind, so that like you know when this error comes next time what needs to be done. So there is something again. What is that? Let me else if so should work, right? Did I can make some mistake? No, sorry. I think I didn't select some of the part of the code. So else, right? So what is printed? Else. So which this if condition, right? Even though code is going this way, if this is not true, that's directly coming from here to here. This is not true, from here it's directly coming here. So all this part of code, however this is written here, this is not executing. If it is an insert, delete, update, whatever the code it is, this is not going to run. Okay, I know like we have already crossed 20 minutes. I also have loop to be covered. We'll try to conclude soon. So I have this again, my favorite ID is declared as 0. So what is loop, right? As I mentioned, loop is a statement that help you to run the query multiple times. So here what I am telling, so we have while loop in SQL. So we also have cursors that is doing the looping activity, but that's based on the table records and rules. We are not going to cover that today. We are talking about very basic while loop, which help you to loop the query again and again. So here I have while loop. What I am telling, while loop will always have a condition, right? Like if was like just help you to run that code or skip the code. Here while will help you to run the code how many ever number the condition is true. So here while is checking is my id greater than 10, then run this code. So what this code is doing, print loop count, and this is cast. This, how did I make this capital? It is Control Shift U. Okay, that's a shortcut which you can keep in mind. Control Shift U will help you to make the letters uppercase. Whatever you have written, you can make it uppercase. Okay, so cast is which we have learned in that string function, which help you to convert a data type into a desired data type. So here you can always convert an integer into varchar. String you cannot convert into integer, right? So what I wanted to combine my number, that id, along with my loop count string, so that like I cannot add a like number, like I cannot combine a number and a string. So I have converted the variable into string, so that like a string in the sense varchar, so that like I would be able to combine the loop count string along with this id. I'll show you how the result come. So now we said that okay, id should be less than 10. So first I also set a statement saying that okay, id is equal to id plus 1, right? So now the variable is declared. So while checked, okay, is id greater than 10? Yes, definitely it is 0, right? Then it printed the statement. Then it set id equal to id plus 1. So this, then next time from here it goes up. And while we will check again, what is the value in id? Id is 1 because you added 1 here, right? So it comes here, then id plus id, it will come 2. So let us run this loop statement and see how it works. So it's 0. So it started with 0. It will be there until 9 because I am checking less than 10. So if you put it less than or equal to, you are going to get total 11 records, 11 prints. So that includes 10, right? When the condition fails, the loop will break. So you can use this not just print, right? You wanted to like insert same value 10 times into a table. Instead of my print statement, you can write an insert statement that's going to keep inserting. Maybe you wanted to insert value from 1 to 10 into a table. You can use this statement, right? So I'm only talking about basic functionality we can always apply this based on our previous logic. Wherever we can use variables, loop, conditional statements. All these things can be applied when we start writing multiple lines of code and referring the value from previous result to here. So that we will be learning in upcoming days. So that's all for today. I hope like this gave a very good clarity about variables, conditional statements, and as well as loop. I know like we have many more to cover. So but this is all for today. Hope you have liked it. Feel free to ask questions, reach out to me if you need more clarity on this topic. Until then, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.